How you doing, everybody? My name is Dr. Sami Baya. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. When you ignore a narcissist, that's the title of this video. When you first begin ignoring a narcissist, their immediate reaction is often confusion. Narcissists are used to being the center of attention. Narcissists, they expect immediate responses to their provocations. You know, a narcissist is a selfish, self-centered, egocentric, egotistic, self-absorbed individual. With a narcissist, it's all about me, 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 me. They are very arrogant creatures, very boastful. They use you, then they discard you. It's all about them. With a narcissist, they lack empathy. They need constant attention, constant admiration, constant validation. When you ignore a narcissist, they will have a wounded ego. They have fragile egos, these narcissists. So ignoring them can feel like a direct attack. It causes them to feel slighted. It causes them to feel injured. So, even if no harm was intended, the narcissist will be, the ego will be wounded when you ignore them. When you ignore a narcissist, they'll often interpret being ignored as rejection or abandonment. And this can be especially painful given their deep-seated fears of not being good enough. So when you ignore a narcissist, you trigger the narcissistic injury. This perceived rejection can lead to what is known as narcissistic injury, where the narcissist feels exposed, ashamed, or enraged. In response, when a narcissist is ignored, they may attempt to hoover you. They may try to hoover you back in. They may use manipulative tactics like flattery, guilt, or even threats to re-engage you. When you ignore a narcissist, they might love bomb you. So if you are once close with a narcissist, they might suddenly become extremely affectionate or complimentary. They may try to regain control over your attention. So when you ignore a narcissist, be ready for them to gaslight you. They may claim you're the one being unreasonable. They may claim that you are being toxic. The narcissist may attempt to distort reality and make you question your behavior. When you ignore a narcissist, they may swing into smear campaigns. If ignoring persists, they might lash out by spreading rumors or lies to damage your reputation and regain social control. When you ignore a narcissist, be ready for triangulation. A narcissist might bring a third party into the dynamic to make you jealous, to make you insecure. And they hope that this will prompt you to re-engage. When you ignore narcissists, be ready for projection. The narcissists often project their own insecurities onto others. They'll accuse you of being cold, of being narcissistic. They'll accuse you of being manipulative. When you ignore narcissists, they will swing into silent rage. Some narcissists respond with passive aggression or cold silence. They'll use emotional withdrawal as a punishment. When you ignore narcissists, they will overcompensate. They might overly brag or flaunt achievements, relationships, or material success. When you ignore a narcissist, they may seek new supply. If their attempts fail, the narcissist will often seek new narcissistic supply. What do you mean by narcissistic supply? We mean the attention, the praise, the admiration that the narcissist seeks from someone else. Now, when you ignore narcissists, they might rapidly replace you. They may quickly form new relationships to prove that they've moved on and to make you feel replaced or insignificant. When you ignore a narcissist, be ready for false apologies. The narcissist might offer an insincere apology if they think it will draw you back in. However, these apologies often lack accountability. When you ignore a narcissist, they may briefly appear to change their behavior to entice you, but this is usually unsustainable and strategic. When you ignore a narcissist, be ready for anger and outbursts. Being ignored for long can trigger rage, leading to verbal abuse, threats, or even destruction of property in extreme cases. When you ignore narcissists, be ready for victim complex. They may play the victim publicly or privately to elicit sympathy from others and to paint you as the aggressor. When you ignore a narcissist, they'll test boundaries. They'll test how serious your silence is by sending harmless messages, checking social media, or staging run-ins. When you ignore a narcissist, they'll manipulate mutual contacts. They may try to manipulate friends or family to deliver messages, provoke you, or get inside information. When you ignore a narcissist, there'll be increased surveillance. They may begin monitoring your online activity, checking if you've moved on or started seeing someone else. When you ignore narcissists, watch out for intermittent reinforcement. They may intermittently praise and punish, engaging briefly, then withdrawing to keep you off balance. When you ignore narcissists, watch out for emotional exhaustion. Their relentless behavior can wear you down, causing emotional fatigue and second-guessing of your decision to go no contact. When you ignore a narcissist, be ready for personal attacks. As their desperation grows, their criticism may become more personal, cruel, and cutting, targeting your self-worth. When you ignore the narcissist, there will be threats or intimidation. In extreme cases, narcissists might escalate to intimidation tactics if they feel that they've lost all control. So if you ignore a narcissist, they'll threaten you, they'll intimidate you. If you ignore a narcissist, they will legally and financially manipulate you. They might use custody, shared finances, or legal threats to reassert dominance if you're deeply entangled. To ignore a narcissist. When you ignore a narcissist, they will self-victimize online. Narcissists might post vague or dramatic content online to make you feel guilty or provoke a reaction. If nothing works, they may go silent temporarily, not as acceptance, but as a ploy to make you chase them. When you ignore a narcissist, they may resentfully detach. Eventually, they may appear to give up, but resentment often lingers. They might still badmouth you or watch from afar. When you ignore a narcissist, there will be true detachment. The healthiest response is to maintain boundaries. When you fully detach, the narcissist loses their power, and which is the ultimate form of liberation. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned a thing or two. Please, if you did, drop a comment below, click the like button, and again, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, spare a second or two and smash that subscribe button. Make sure the notification bell is on. That way, every time I upload a new video, you get notified about it. Thank you.